Hey there, my name's Danny Leibrandt, and you are listening to The Local Marketeer, where we host local marketing experts every week. Today, I'm with Robin Alex. Robin is one of the three co-founders of HighLevel, also known as GoHighLevel, a comprehensive sales and marketing platform tailored for agencies serving small businesses. As of 2024, HighLevel has over $1 billion evaluation. I thought it was less than that. I thought it was 500 million. But Robin actually corrected me before the call. It's around 1.3, maybe even up to 1.5. Um, Absolutely insane. I just can't even describe what a monster of a company that they have created, and it's just him and his two co-founders, which is really spectacular. Um, so Robin and his co-founders also received the Southwest Award for Entrepreneur of the Year in 2024. So if you're in the agency space, chances are you know about HighLevel and probably even use it. And in this podcast, we're going to dive into Robin's journey, learn all about HighLevel, and what it takes to grow a successful software company. So without further ado, welcome Robin Alex. Thanks for coming on the show, Robin.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. So you've been running HighLevel for about the past 6 or 7 years. Can you tell me what you were doing before that?
Yeah, so I've been an entrepreneur. Started a couple businesses even, when I was like 16, 17. Actually sold it when I was 19. And then from there, worked for a couple of companies, helping to build their businesses, and then also did consulting and started a few other businesses. But right before High Level, actually, I was running a local marketing agency, and we were serving local businesses, whether it's a couple med spas, car customizing shops, dental, and a few other businesses. I think at its peak we were serving about 200 customers, and about 25 people around the world that was helping to support these customers. And from there we learn kind of what every agency deals with as far as implementing different services and applications and products to different businesses, and that's actually what was the genesis of what started High Level today.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense because it feels like HighLevel is built specifically for agency owners, but I didn't know so much that it was by agency owners until I was doing some more background on you. So that's so cool. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about like some of the problems that you were having as an agency owner. Go into that.
Yeah, so as an agency owner, you'd go in and you can talk to a business owner, and in their mind, when they sign on to a marketing agency, they look at it as, I'm giving you $1, you're supposed to make me $3 back, and it's
Hmm.
supposed to be completely hands free, like hands off. I don't need to
Hmm.
do anything. Um, Now, I think that is kind of the best case scenario, but in reality, it's me as the agency. I can bring a lot of attention and a lot of interest to your business, but I don't know how to deliver med spa services. I don't know how to deliver like, you're in pest control. Like, I don't know if like all the chemicals and all the right
No.
procedures and that, but what makes a pest control business interesting for a consumer to at least drive interest to it. So
Hmm.
that was kind of the biggest gap that we saw. And so as we were growing, we could pick up customers, but there was always this disconnect of like, yeah, but you gave me a whole bunch of leads and a whole bunch of people that's interested, but no sales were actually driving in. And so we had to make a decision in saying, look, do we want to just, be the company that's going to just drive interest and brand recognition to, or do we actually want to get into consulting and actually help these businesses figure out, we got people all the way to walk into your door. Now we need to help you not only get them into your door, but then also help you close the deal and make sure that you deliver appropriately. And that's really how we kind of pivoted and really focused in on that. And at the beginning of it, it was really taking a combination of maybe 10 to 15 different tools out there to be able to accomplish it. Right,
Hmm.
you needed to create auto dialers, you need to do two-way texting, you needed to do management of the leads so that you could email them and then track it accordingly and make sure that people are in right campaigns so that they come in with calendaring systems. And it just turned into this big thing of like, we had to take 15, 20 different tools and run APIs and stuff and recreate it over and over again, because once we figured out the system, it doesn't matter what business that you serve, it's kind of the same concept over and over again. And by chance and fate, I got a call from one of my customers at the time who said that they were talking to Sean and Varun, who were implementing a different software, and they needed access to a couple things, and so that customer got me in contact with them, and we just hit it off right off the the jump, and we started talking about like what I was doing in the agency and what they were doing, and we just joined forces at that time. And 7 years later, here we are today.
Wow, that's so awesome, man. And yeah, I feel like a lot of agency owners really relate with that of, we can drive the phone calls, we can get the visibility, but in terms of your end, you have to be able to close the deals, you have to be able to keep them on a recurring contract. So I definitely feel for that. I feel like High Level is at least a partial solution to that. We still can actually go to their business and fulfill all the services, like you were saying, but about as close to that as we can. And can you talk to me like about even I really want to dig in. What were like the first few months of High Level like? Like, did you guys immediately come up with the idea? How did that transpire?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy to get started in the sense that we were leveraging many different tools before, right? Now, the hardest part was duct taping it all together with APIs and Zapier and all the different tools to make it integrated. So what we did was like, okay, let's take all these tools, let's take the simplest ones out of it and recreate it. And that's where we started out with like a calendaring system, the CRM functionality, the two-way texting, and let's put all that into place. And can we create it almost like a turnkey system? And that's where the genesis of snapshots came in. So like when you
Mm,
launch a new customer, it was like, oh, all the settings and everything were put into place. And then we created a campaign system so that when leads came in, you could easily, trigger conversations and then from there drive it in. So that was definitely the first part of it. But yeah, coming up with it wasn't too difficult because we were already doing it on a day-to-day basis. Of course we had to build it and create it. Um, but that took a couple of months, and from there we just launched it out to first a couple of internal customers that I had, and then found immediate success, and then it was like, okay, well, let's load it up to all of those customers. And
yeah,
then from there, I started making calls to other agencies, who, I'm in a lot of private circles and, networking groups and stuff like that. So I just started picking up the phone and calling a couple of people, kind of talking about the problem. And then, hey, we got this solution. I'd love for you to test it out. And, the fun part about that journey is it took off by wildfire because it was all word of mouth from there. It was kind of the hidden secret for agencies of like, hey, you're delivering all these different services. How'd you like to have a system to help implement it for you? And then from there, it started to gain traction, and we just kept our heads down and just kept trying to get it to more and more agencies.
yeah. No, the like I was saying, the growth has just been insane. So I would kind of understand it if maybe you started the company like 20 years ago, but you started it, I believe, less than 7 years ago. So can you talk about how you grew it so fast? Like, I know affiliates is a big thing for you guys, or was it just the product itself or something else?
Yeah, so we've always been product led. So, while we do have an affiliate program, we don't think of it in the same lens of like other platforms. I mean, the way that I've personally looked at it is when you have a good product, it should speak for itself. And when you're able to deliver, you need to be able to deliver so much that you as the consumer, the customer, have so much, like you feel obligated to be like, wow, like you've done so much for me. I need to go tell five other people, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be that elated. And so that was what we did from the beginning. We would, anytime that we brought on a new customer, Sean Vernon or I would get on a call with the customer, get them set up, and then we would just constantly check in with them to make sure that they got success. And then we would just do it to where they found so much internal, success with what they did, where it's like, hey, do you know other people that would like this? And people would be like, oh yeah, I could definitely get you connected to other people. And it wasn't until, after a while where we just started asking that question, do you know other people that would love the software? And people were like, oh yeah, I could definitely connect you with a few people, but if you'd like, if you guys have like an affiliate program or something, I can promote this all the time. I have a really big audience. And that's actually how we started out with kind of the affiliate aspect behind it, was really just compensating people. And that's when we decided we don't need a sales team. If we just deliver a great product, people will talk about how great it is, and by chance, if they feel like they align with that, they'll come into our product there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think your company is one of the few that is actually providing a substantial amount of value compared to what the price is. I almost like to think of it as like the Netflix model of I mean, now Netflix is increasing their prices, but maybe now they might be $20, $25. Still, to pay $20 a month and to watch all the movies you want, and you have a vast array of tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. That is a clear kind of price to cost differential. So it seems like that's exactly what you guys did. You kind of cracked the code there.
Yeah. No, it's been I mean it's something that we had foresight on. It just naturally happened. The comment is, birds of a feather flock together. So if you get one person, they know four or five other people. And we just organically saw it. That compounding effect, that snowball effect of like more people coming in. And once we just started paying more attention to it, it's wow, this is really working here. How do we put more gasoline on it? So
Yeah.
that's really how we kept going with it. It wasn't like from the beginning, you know what, we're gonna go and this is gonna be our distribution model. It was just following the trend of what was happening with our customer base, and we just wanted to continue putting gasoline on it.
Interesting. Okay. And what particularly is the role of you and your two co-founders? Because I feel like this is, I mean, it has to be some kind of dynamic trio, like some role model for success that other people could follow. Like, is one of you guys the marketing guy, the developer? Is there any set roles?
Yeah, I mean, I think like officially speaking, Sean's the CEO, I'm the COO, and Vern's the CTO. But we were just forced to have titles. Like
Yeah.
when you get to a certain size, you make you sign documents to saying, what is your title. But the way that we've always looked at it is, there's problems anywhere and everywhere that you look. We don't want to have boundaries. We don't want to, wall things off, because I think that's where partnerships really go aside, where it's like, oh, not my job. That's supposed to be yours, Danny. Right. Like,
Yeah.
and, when you have that assumption and then no one picks it up, that's when things start festering and get even worse. For us, it's, we all have different parts of the business that we're passionate about. And so we lean into it, but that doesn't stop anyone else from jumping in. So we all, we definitely have that camaraderie there. And then, I also look at it as there's landmines everywhere that you go, and it's whoever's available. Can you jump on that landmine to solve it and put it out? And you just can't let your ego take course. And so we're all hands on deck and kind of have a little bit of our hands in everything around the company.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, the partnership with the two co-founders has clearly been successful. What would you recommend to other people that are starting a company, maybe even a company like yours, of finding their co-founders? And do you even need a co-founder?
I think that there's kind of two sides of things. There's do you need a co-founder or not? It really depends on the type of business that you're running. I mean, for us, the importance of the co-founders was just, take the term aside, it was just three people just trying to solve a problem.
Mm.
And once it turned into a business, I mean, then you got to put labels of calling it co-founders and stuff like that. But, I think very similarly, you can run a business on your own and grow it. I think it's all about the supporting cast that you build, though. It doesn't matter, from a hierarchy perspective on how you get there. It's about, can you build a supporting cast and grow the business effectively? Now, for us, when we started, it was just us three. We were making the decisions and really just trying to solve problems. And, there was no like, one person who's above the others or anything like that. It's like, hey, there's the problem here. We're just all trying to figure it out. Keep going until something starts hitting. And, for us, it naturally blew up there. But I think, when you try to launch a business and try to put you spend more time in trying to figure out the structure versus trying to solve the problem and get to the solution. That's, I think, where things go sideways. And so you should just really have a dynamic of creating that supporting cast and really trying to solve the problem, not corporate structure and entities and percentages and all that can be figured out. And to be honest, for Sean, Vern, and I, we didn't even figure that out until like we're 2-3 years into the business. It was just every dollar that came in stayed in the business, and we're just trying to grow it, just see what happens, and we'll figure it out once it got to a certain size. And that's when we decided to make a decision on how do we do the corporate structure there.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And you mentioned that you guys are really actually pushed pretty heavily that you guys are very product led, but I know that you also have an awesome affiliate program. And I even know guys that have become millionaires through your affiliate program. So it's clearly very successful and has even made other people successful. So could you talk a little bit about your referral program and why it's so successful?
Yeah, so we basically created a flywheel concept that we wanted to have a really awesome product that makes sense for our ideal customer. And then, what I mentioned earlier, when you have a really great product, you build it in such a great way that people want to talk about it, right? Like this is what's the core part of their business and stuff like that. And then when people do that, there are some people who will just organically talk about it and how it's helped their business and stuff like that. And then you have some people who are like, I think I can get it to a greater audience and will HighLevel pay me for that, for doing that additional work. And so that's how we built it out. And then from there, it's definitely it just kind of grew and grew and grew, and we just kept putting more gasoline into it, so more people are referring more customers and turning it into an actual business. But it's akin to like an Apple, Apple products, right? There's always the fanboys of Apple who will talk about how great it is and how it's helped their lives and efficiencies. I mean, looking at you right now, you have Apple earbuds in,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you'll talk about it with your friends, and I'm sure you have conversations of like, if you have an iPhone, it's, ew, I don't want to talk to that person who has an Android, right? The green bubble concept,
Yeah.
right? It comes in natural conversation. Now, some people will convince their friends who have the Android, you really need to get the iPhone. You got to be a part of the Blue Club. But then there's other people who are like, yeah, I'll do that organically. But then on top of that, if Apple pays me, I'll start creating some YouTube content because I
Mm.
love it. Not only do I like it, I love it so much so that I'm going to spend additional time. So that's really all that we've done with the affiliate program. And yeah, I mean, we've had some really great talent and talented individuals who've made a lot of money through that just because they have, really large audiences and really have shown the great value of what the product does.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That's a great point, and I like that you started with the product first, and like, dude, it's not the affiliates, it's not the referrals, it's the product. People want to talk about it anyways, but now we're just allowing some incentivization, and they want to push the product even more, but they already love it, and that's where it starts from. So, okay, awesome. I love that, man. That's
Yeah.
so cool. I think that's how every business should be, right? It should always come from an actual good product.
Yeah, I mean, just think about your business. You have pest control SEO, right? Like, wouldn't you love for you are delivering such a great service that your customers are like, wow, Danny and his team is great, right?
Hmm.
Now they're going to talk about it to other, friends in the industry or other businesses. But then if you also went back to them and say, hey, I know you're already telling me, telling your friends about how great my work is, but if you were to also put a little bit more work behind it, I'll give you a little referral fee,
Mm,
right? Now,
yeah.
some people will take the bait and do it, and some people are like, you know what, Danny, I just like love what you do so much that you don't even have to pay me. I'm just
Hmm.
going to talk about it, right? But that's really the whole concept there. So it doesn't matter, whether you're in software or anything like that. It's across the board. It's everything that you have that opportunity to create that same model.
Yeah, I think that's important point to make as well. And yeah, I've seen that with my agency totally. Even though I haven't actually implemented a referral program, plenty of clients have come through referrals. But I haven't even necessarily thought about that of implementing it into different business types like mine, which is an agency, or maybe others like e-commerce. So I think that's something for all business owners to consider, regardless if it's a software company or something adjacent.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's happening organically, and this is the opportunity for you to put more gasoline on it and make it even bigger.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So I really want to dive into the high level product itself. So first, could you, like, for people that aren't too familiar with high level, could you give me like a broad definition and explain what high level is and what it does?
Yeah. So what we've done is, we've taken all the different tools that most businesses need. So CRM platform, lead automation tool, the ability to doing communication, so two-way texting, emailing, Facebook Messenger, and all that, creating it into a simple dashboard, proposals, invoices, reputation management. So really taking all the different tools that businesses need. Now we've looked at it in two different lenses. Every small business needs these tools. Now, the problem is who is the one to doing the implementation? So we work with the technology evangelists. So generally marketing agencies, IT companies, in-house training people, and we kind of put it in the lens of how did they implement these tools. And so that's, really what HighLevel does. And then on top of that, because we work with a lot of agencies, we've the request was like, how do we put our brand on it? Because you want to go out and promote it as your own because of the customizations that you put in, right? Like you work a lot in the pest control space, so you know the dynamics of what makes the system work for pest controls. Because it's not like you can buy any Apple computer or any Windows computer. Everybody has the same opportunities to using the same tools there, but it's really how you configure it, which what makes it what's special for the end user's application. So that's what we want to basically, consider your IP. So you can then not only brand it, resell it with your own brand, but then on top of that, we give this concept of creating snapshots because the hardest part is you deliver for one customer. The time to get implemented for the next customer can take a long time. So with the snapshots, it's taking a zip of all the settings and all the IP that you put in. And then when you launch it for your next customer, it's just one click launch and you're ready to go.
Yeah, awesome. And for people that don't know what a snapshot is, can you explain that?
Yeah, it's basically taking all the settings of all the different tools within the system and basically saving it. And so that when you are ready to launch either maybe a new location of a business or a new customer, if you're an agency or something like that, you can load up the snapshot. Think of extracting a zip file. And so all the settings and all the configurations are ready and you can launch right away.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And is HighLevel just for agencies, or can local businesses and other businesses use it as well?
Yeah, so generally speaking, we started the product for marketing agencies. That's how we launched. That was really the way that we did it. Over the years, more and more small businesses have found out about HighLevel and started leveraging it themselves. But we kind of look at it as a lot of them are building their own in-house marketing agency. They may have previously worked with a third-party agency. They've built the sophistication. Maybe they've hired internal people, and so that they're starting to leverage it for their own business, and they have their own dedicated people there. So they may not use all the advanced tools that agencies need, but they're using a lot of the core functionality. And the fun part about it is the growth that we're seeing on the small business side is because they're building not only their in-house marketing agency, but they're starting to go from like, one location to now 20 locations because it's like turning into a franchise or licensing structure. So seeing that growth, it's just the same as we saw with marketing agencies. So yeah, it's been fun kind of seeing it on both sides of the fence there.
Cool. Awesome. And I'm curious, what are like some of the top use cases for HighLevel? Like, is it people building funnels or just like those overall snapshots, like you were saying?
Yeah, so I mean, I think at the end of the day, what most people leverage HighLevel for, uh, broadly speaking, is the funnel builder, doing the automations, and creating some workflows to help streamline the process of capturing leads and getting people to effectively close. And for close, it can mean many things like booking an appointment to actually doing, collecting dollars and cents. And so at the core of it, that's what most businesses are leveraging. The snapshot component is basically taking all those configurations and putting it as one. And so we do, of course, we see a lot of usage there. But at the end of it, it is, somehow, some way collecting leads, putting it on a landing page. From the landing page, getting people to communicate back and forth, whether it's through texting, emailing, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, whatever it might be, and then getting them to book an appointment. That whole flow from A to Z is really the core that most businesses are looking for.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And then is there any other features that people maybe don't know so much about that they should be using?
Yeah, I mean, we have a very robust phone system, and so being able to leverage that and create use cases within the business. I think the most exciting one that we have is with our AI employee. And so what that allows you to do is now, let's say if you have, you have someone who's running the front desk all day, and then after hours, no one's there. Well, we used to say do missed call text back, but now you could actually load up an AI agent, and that AI agent can actually take the phone call and get people to actually close on the call. Down to like whatever your version of closes, whether it's booking an appointment to closing a deal to accepting payments and things like that. That has been phenomenal. And then seeing what other people have done with the tooling that we have for the AI components, it's been phenomenal to see it because, AI is happening so fast within different use cases that, people are loading up into it, mostly in the small business space.
Really? Okay, I actually haven't used that. Can you talk more about that? And is the technology completely there? Because I've heard some people say that it's still kind of developing. Not particularly to your software, but just in
Yeah,
general of answering phone calls. Of maybe there's like a too much of a delayed wait time. Like it's just almost there. It
uh,
might take a few months or so. Is the AI answering fully there?
it is there. I think, one of the things is like, to what degree are you going to feel confident about? Most people know that you're not there after hours or it is a bot. So there is
Mm,
a sense of reasonableness that you go in. But, what's funny is about a year ago, there was this concern of like delays and stuff like that. All of that has gotten way better. Like, so the technology and stuff has way improved. Now, what's interesting, where I've seen the most success is there's some people who are trying to go down the craft of making it as human as possible. And I think those are the ones that get the bad rap because
mm,
it's never going to be 100%, or technology is not there for it to be 100%. It's close, but the delta difference of being 80 to 90% to 100, it's enough to like bother people
mm.
of like, why are you lying? Like, it's almost like, why are you lying to me?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
then you have the other people who are like upfront about it. This is an AI bot, and we're trying to help you do it, and things like that. Like when you go in with kind of that mental receptiveness of like, oh, I am talking to an AI bot, and I'm just trying to go through the system to doing it. Those are the ones that have the highest success rate, and those are doing phenomenally well.
Really? Okay, interesting. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of what I'd assume because I believe the technology, it might take another year or so. But I think that's still definitely helpful for customers. I mean, if someone has like a major emergency problem at, 11 p.m., maybe someone can't get to the phone then, but at least now that's in the system. Now maybe as soon as the owner or one of the technicians wakes up, now they can get to that call immediately, and that they see that registered versus it just went automatically to voicemail. I don't know, you forget about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think there's a lot of opportunity here, mostly as agencies to help small businesses. And one thing that I will say is small businesses are super receptive to it.
Mm,
The other options that they have is, working with a third party company to picking up the calls, and that becomes costly. And you can't control the dynamics of what happens on the call. But when it's a bot, you get to control kind of the end outcomes, and you get to be cutting edge as well. And so, like I said, I think it's tip of the spear of what people are doing with just after hours and things like that. People are starting to get into like more realistic use cases. Like I saw one where someone actually was able to create one for a pizza shop of actually doing a full order on the phone.
mm, wow.
And just think about that. Like if you're a busy pizza shop, now you don't have to pull someone out from cooking the pizza to like start taking calls at the same time. It's no, we have a whole automated system, and it sounded really good. Like they play the balance of it being like 90% where it felt like a human, but they were very upfront in saying this is just a bot. We're your pizza ordering bots, and we're gonna help you get your order. And like they gamified it and made it, and so the way that they did it was really great. And so I think when you talk about the tech and are we there, I do think that we are there today.
Dang. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it does come down to it being solution oriented. So I don't think like when someone calls a pest control company, they're not too worried about speaking to a human. They just want someone to fix their pest problem, right?
A
The
hundred
same thing with
percent.
ordering a pizza. You just want a pizza. So like I'm cool ordering it on Uber Eats, I'm cool calling, I'm cool, maybe filling out a form, but really what's ever easiest at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's kind of the biggest byline is, are you, whether you're using AI or automations or websites or whatever it is, it has to be a give and take, so much so that you're giving that friction value. Like you're trying to order pizza, well, I need to make sure that it doesn't feel like it's a job for you to order pizza. Like I need to
Mm,
make it as simple as possible, because the simpler I can make it, not only helps that initial purchase, it makes you feel so comfortable to come back again,
mm.
right? and,
That's
and
so
so
awesome.
that's how people need to start thinking about these sort of things.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like out of the many principles of your company, because again, you guys have grown to such a massive scale, there has to be fundamental principles like that in place to scale. So could you talk about the other principles that you guys have, or maybe core values that have allowed you to grow to this size?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of them is having the bias to action. A lot of times there's this feeling that when there's a problem, the simple analogy is like when you have a crumpled up paper next to a trash bin. For some people it's, well, I see it, but is it my job to pick that up? And you just kind of walk away from it. And so for us, the bias to action is like when you see something, say something,
Mm,
try to bubble it up. Let's get it knocked out. Why do we have to wait? Why can't we just get this solved now? And so continuing to break down those barriers, as we're growing, bringing on a lot of talented individuals, sometimes, they have baggage of what they've experienced in their other jobs and stuff. And so really trying to break their mentality and the saying of like, it's okay to break things.
mm,
It's okay to roll things out very, very quickly. But at the same time, the expectation is when you roll something out and it's broken, you got to go in and fix it. You just can't let it sit. But many of the companies, that's kind of the model. You got to put out perfection, and it might take 3 years and roll it out. Now the problem there is you have to wait 3 years, and the world has shifted so fast that
mm,
what you put out 3 years from now doesn't even matter anymore. So
yeah.
for us, it's playing that balance there. And I think the other piece is we try not to have to create anything from scratch. It's listening to our customers, and they'll tell us exactly what needs to be
Mm,
done. And so just always having that listening ear, that has been one of the easiest things as far as us scaling the business. We didn't have to create this spunk group of like of trying to figure out where the trends are going and what we're doing in the world and stuff like that. For us, it's just our customers tell us day in and day out of what's new, what's kind of around the corner, and we just listen and watch. And once we see a little bit of success, we start building.
awesome. And where particularly are you listening to them? Like, is there a designated community? Are you looking at like contact forums?
Yeah, so a little bit of everything. So one, we have an ideas board that we pay attention to. All of our product managers are in there, collating all the different details of what people are asking for. We have a very engaging Facebook group. I think it's close to 100,000 people that's in there, and not only they're giving us feedback on issues and problems that they're dealing with, but other ideas, and so it's a very active community. So we're paying attention there, and we're very active. One of the other things that we do is we do these town halls. So we have about 35 product managers who own different aspects of HighLevel, and each one of them, they schedule town halls. And so if you're interested in specific things, like if you're interested in the CRM functionality, you yourself can jump in and get on the town call where they will go through the roadmap. What are they seeing? What are they building? Where are they going? And then it gives you the opportunity to not only ask questions, but then give your ideas and suggestions on where they should go. Or saying, yeah, you put that in the roadmap. That's really not what people are asking for. You kind of missed the mark there, and so that gives them the opportunity to readjust as well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just all these ideas seem like so genius. Are you modeling it on any other companies, or have these all of these ideas just come up on your own?
No, I mean, like I said, a lot of it is just by natural, organic stuff that we've done. So we would do these town halls once a month where it was just the opportunity for us to just talk to customers. So we get on a Zoom call, and we just thought it was like more community building. But over time, we realized that people wanted us to talk about specific products, and our HighLevel is so vast. So we just figure out, how do we scale this? How do we make this more efficient? How do we give it to what customers want? And so like I said, I wouldn't say there's a lot of forethought into it, but once we see some traction, we try to put gasoline on it.
Okay, cool. So it was more intuitive. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, something else I'm just kind of curious about is, you've grown this massive company. How many sacrifices have you had to make? Like, have you had to take off like weddings and funerals, or are you still able to live a normal life?
I think it's there's always this weird push pull balance of there's no such thing as balance, but it's for me, it's how do I make sure I'm at the right places at the right time. So you know, sacrifice is always relative. It's just trying to figure out what are the most important things, and am I there? I think one of the advantages that we did have is growing the business during COVID.
Mm,
Everybody was, kind of, at home and kind of in their own places, and so we did have that. But at the same time, it even today, like I still have to travel and things like that. But it's just trying to get ahead of it by understanding where I'm at, and what else is going on, so I can be back in time for anything on the home front, or for friends or family, and things like that.
yeah, definitely. And also, For me, looking on the outside, it seems like you guys have just been like completely smooth sailing, just 7 years of just, skyrocketing growth. I want you to talk about some of the obstacles and some of the challenges that you guys have had to overcome. Can you talk about some of those?
Yeah, I mean, I think so some of the challenges always comes into one, our customers are always going to be 1% smarter than we will ever be.
Hmm.
We can build the tools, we can't build the applications in the sense of like, I personally don't know the pest control industry. So you're always going to be smarter than me
Mm.
from how to leverage the technology to doing that. And then remember, your customers are going to be 1% smarter than you because
Yeah,
they know how to
that's fair.
deliver on it, right? So it's like this weird dimensionality there. And so for us, the hardest part is how do we continue growing the business, hiring very talented individuals? How do we continue to hold that culture of staying connected? But at the same time, just understanding that we're never going to be smarter than our customers. So there's a little bit of challenges as we start training, like in support and things like that. Like hiring somebody off the street to not only learn a product, so they have to take time to learn how to use HighLevel, but that's just like understanding, like you go into Home Depot or Lowe's and like, I know where the hammer is and I know where the screwdriver is, but do I really know how to actually use these tools in
Mm.
kind of the unique ways, right? Like, and
Yeah.
that's where they get on a call with someone like yourself and it's, well, there's this, remember, you're smarter, you're 1% smarter on how to use that hammer,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And so like, so trying to train people to bring people up, and then as we continue to bring on leaders within the organization, how do we make sure that they lean into our culture and move as fast as we can, because we have a very unique ecosystem in how we built our business. And so a lot of the challenges is just right sizing the talent and continue to scale up. I mean, we're about 1,600 people around the world that work for HighLevel, and making sure that we match the culture with every single person. And then are we doing it effectively and making sure that everyone's happy along the way? Those are kind of the biggest things that we deal with.
Wow, 1,600 employees is a lot, man.
It
I'm
is,
I'm
but
curious, what is kind of the demographic? Like, is it mostly US based, or do you have people all around the world, like you were saying?
yeah, we're in about 21 different countries. I'd probably say about 45 to 50% is here in the States. And then, rest of the world is everywhere else. We have a big engineering team in India. But, we're in many other countries as well for different reasons, for customer support, customer success. Some of our finance teams, is all around the world as well. So, we just want to find the right talent and in the right places to really support our customers.
Mm.
We have a large international contingency of customers, so we want to make sure that we're 24/7 and around, because you're here in Chicago, Danny, well, somebody else is in the other side of the world who have problems, and so we need to make sure that we
Mm.
match up the right support talent to make sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah, definitely. Now, this is going to seem like an elementary question that you've probably got a lot before, but if someone is looking to start, the next huge project, something like Go High Level, how can they go about that? Like, can you be just some young guy or young girl starting the company? Like, what experience do you have to have? How do you know you have the right idea? How do you really start a successful company?
You need zero experience. What you need to be doing is immediately going to talk to customer or potential customers or just business owners and asking what their problems are.
Mm.
And then once you go to like a handful of businesses, you'll start realizing that the questions that you're asking and what the problems are, there's probably some consistency there. And then from there, it's you just need to chase how do you solve that problem. And then before you do it, just ask each one of these businesses, hey, so you told me this problem. If I were to solve it, what would this mean for your business? And they would kind of tell you that value extract it. They'll tell you kind of like, oh, you're going to save me X amount of dollars or save me time and things like that. Then you kind of follow up and saying, okay, so if I solve it, what would you pay me for this? Right. And
Dang.
that's actually how
Yeah.
you start figuring out the problem, what the potential solution could look like, and what people are willing to spend for this. And you start asking more and more businesses, and you start it starts really compressing into like, okay, here's the problem, here's the solution, here's what people are willing to pay for it. And I have a list of 10 companies that I've spoken to. Let me go start figuring out how to build the solution. And then let me go back to them and saying, okay, I solved it. Try it out. And remember how you said that if I can solve it for you, you'd pay me? Well, I solved it. You agree that you solved it. Now it's time to pay me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that approach. And I've actually been listening to a lot of Harvard lectures lately, and they've all been saying the same thing, is that you have to start from the problem. Where most people that start a company, it's usually just because they want to start the company. It's just like, oh, I've always dreamed of being an artist, and I've always dreamed of building homes. It's like, well, that's great, but let's kind of find a way to meet in the middle where you can do what you want, but also still solving other people's problems, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think there's kind of this concept of I call it the business card concept of like when you start a business, there's two types of people. Someone who's like, yeah, I'm starting a business, but really it's trying to help a problem and get a solution to that problem. Or yeah, the other one who, to what you just said, it's I like the idea of starting a business, but I'm going to spend the next couple of weeks to really formulate getting this really awesome business card. And I'm going to now focus on the website and stuff like that. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, you're not helping anybody. No one cares about your business card. Everyone wants to know how you're going to solve their problem. And
Yeah.
I think the most successful people are the ones that are constantly striving to solve people's problems.
Yeah, awesome. Well, cool. I've got one more question for you, Robin, as we wrap up here. What is one of the biggest lessons you've learned in the past few years?
I think the biggest thing is it doesn't matter what size business that you have, the problems are still the same problems,
Mm,
right? You need to make sure that you're constantly solving your customers' problems and getting them great solutions. You need to make sure that you have the great talent and supporting cast to help you go on that journey. And you want to make sure that everybody's happy along the way. But it doesn't matter what scale at the core of it, it's still the same issues.
wow. Yeah. Okay. That's a good lesson. I've only been an entrepreneur for a few years or so, but I'm starting to see that. But that's good to hear from you that, I believe you've been an entrepreneur for at least 10 years or so. And you're seeing the same problems over and over. So that's definitely a good lesson. And have you kept coming back to that? Like, is that something you have to relearn, or is that something that's been recent?
No, it's something that I constantly have to remind myself on, mostly, when you're having challenging decisions or challenging moments of like what's going on in the business. It's continuing to peel the onion back, saying, "Hey, it's not as complex as you think. It's still the same problems that you dealt with years ago when you were a smaller team of just, you three. Now that there's 300 people impacted within the company, but it's still the same problem. So how do you come up with a solution that at the very simplistic form, like what are we trying to get to, and then from there you can problem solve it, but breaking it down into small little nuggets makes it a lot easier, but it doesn't change it on the scale that you're at.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I love that. Well, cool, man. We'll wrap it up here. Where can people find you on social media and learn more about you and High Level?
Yeah, you can find me on all the social channels. Just search Robin Alex. I think on Instagram it's the Robin Alex. Same thing on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm really everywhere. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, robin@GoHighLevel.com.
Awesome. That's very generous of you. I might take you up on that. So watch
Yeah.
out for that. And anything else you'd like to plug or mention?
No. If you have any questions, check out GoHighLevel.com, and we can give you a free demo and check the product out.
Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, it's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much, Danny.
All right. Appreciate you, Robin.